Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Global Cancer Symposium 2.0. My name is Nathan Crane. I am the award-winning filmmaker of Cancer, the Integrative Perspective, as well as the director of the Health and Healing Club, which you can learn more about at healthandhealingclub.com. But today I'm really excited to be talking with Bobbi Vogel about our innate superhuman abilities for detecting and reversing cancer. This is going to be a pretty special interview, and I think you're going to learn a lot during this time with us. So I'm going to read you Bobbi's bio. I'm going to share with you a little experience I had with her a couple days ago, and then we're going to dive into some really practical things that I think are going to really serve you and your family. Bobbi Vogel, founder at Etheric Medicine, is a medical intuitive, clairvoyant healer, and purpose leader. Bobbi knows that when we are unwell physically, spiritually, or emotionally, we have lost the connection to who we are at core. We've lost our power, she says. Everything begins with faith. Bobbi's unwavering in her commitment to humanity and the need for us all to connect to faith, healing, and a life of purpose. Bobbi's been featured on major media outlets like MSNBC, Fox, CBS, as well as on the Montel Williams show. You can watch that interview on YouTube. I watched it. It's a great interview. And she's worked with a wide range of clients, from children dealing with brain cancer, which we're going to get into today, all the way to Olympic athletes looking to perform better. Bobbi, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. I'm so excited. This is going to be awesome.
So I have a confession to make. So this is, give a little backstory for people. Bobbi and I connected on email, I think a year ago, because we were doing the first Global Cancer Symposium. I believe it was for that or another project we were doing. I don't remember. We were referred by somebody, a mutual acquaintance, and for whatever reason, the timing and everything didn't work out. I think we were all wrapped up with our interviews, but I looked into the work she was doing and thought it was incredible. I thought what you were doing was amazing, and wanted to work with you sometime in the future. And didn't happen. And then recently, as we're filming now for our Global Cancer Symposium 2, a different person connected us. And I thought, oh my gosh, you know, this is the...
All right.
If it's divine timing, the universe, right? When you get reconnected again and give us something, it's like, okay, I'm listening, paying attention. It's part of listening to our intuition or listening to what the universe is showing us, right? Which is important. If we have a cancer diagnosis, pay attention to those signs in our lives, because they are there to serve and support us. And so the confession I have to make is I thought, okay, great referrals. People rave about Bobbi. She, you know, Montel Williams, like celebrities, athletes, people are, but I'm always skeptical. I stay skeptical to a healthy degree, or try to stay to a healthy degree. So I said, okay, can we book a session? I want to, you know, I didn't tell you this, but I was like, I want to see if you're the real deal, you know, before I present you to, you know, our hundreds of thousands of people on the symposium. I want to make sure, you know, that what we're presenting to everyone is genuine. And what I can share, I won't share everything, but what I can share is that she's the real deal. Within just a few moments of sitting and talking, we were talking about the interview itself and that sort of thing. And then she's like, I just have to tell you, I got to tell you, you've got so much tension right here. And she pointed here and she goes, you just got something right here. It's just like, I just feel it. It's so strong, so much tightness. She pointed exactly in the exact spot on the same side where I've been having, you know, a chronic tightness issue for like over a year now. And then she pointed out another one, another one, another one on my back and my neck, and all these things that, like, yes, you know, I've been dealing with off and on for quite some time. And I've been mostly focusing on healing the physical side of things, you know, the physical, the deep tissue, the massage, the anti-inflammatories, the turmeric and black pepper, all the physical stuff, and kind of forgetting about the energy body, the light body associated with that area. It's one of the things you talked to me about and brought back to my forefront of my consciousness, which has been really helpful in the last couple of days. Because, you know, as you talk about, and we'll get more into that, it's looking at our entire human being experience, the being, the soul, the mind, the emotions, as well as the physical, the human, the body, the organs, the tissues, etc. If we forget any aspect of that, then we're forgetting a part of ourselves, right? So anyway, there's a lot more to that. We spent like an hour and a half on the call, and she went into some serious insights and things about me that there's no way, she could have known, because it's not public, and it was really, really helpful. So I just wanted to share that briefly, let everyone know that you are the real deal.
Thank you.
Really, really excited to have you here, and excited to have you share with all of us some of the great work you're doing and some of the things we can do, to tune in to these, what I'm just calling our superhuman abilities.
Yeah. And I appreciate being here. And I mean that because I know the message is so important, right? And it's not my message, it's Spirit's message. So I'm just so happy to be here.
Yeah, beautiful. So I kind of want to dive right in. You've been working with this young girl with brain cancer.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about that. What's your experience been like? What has her journey been like working with you?
Well, so Sophie Ryan she was diagnosed at 8 months old. She just turned 9. 9, 8, 9. Her mom's gonna kill me. Anyway, so her parents, Tracy Ryan and Josh, when she was first diagnosed, she has glioblastoma, brain tumor, and so they created Canna Kids, and it's now CK Soul, which is cannabis medicine, right? Energy medicine, plant medicine. And so when we met, it was in January, and we actually met at Montel Williams. So she and Sophie were on right before me, and then Tracy said, "What do you do?" And I told her I'm medical intuitive. She was like, "Oh my God, I've been looking for somebody because I feel like that's got to be something to investigate, So she already was understanding that. Anyway, so we've been working January, and Sophie lost her sight except for seeing some light in one of her eyes. I didn't know anything about her, and so she asked me, "Will you, can we bring her to your clinic?" And of course, right? So I tuned in, and I was able to see, and I actually drew a picture of like the different areas, because I'm able to see, I send light through the physical and the etheric body. And if I'm in person, I send through my hand. And if it's long distance, I just sort of put the body and the etheric body like up in front of me, and then I can do the same thing. So I was able to see, what was interesting is I didn't even know which eye was, completely blind or anything like that. And so I was able to, her mom was right there, and I was able to explain like where all these different densities, tumors, or things were. But the focus with Spirit, interestingly enough, was in her left eye. I'm like, are these veins? What are these? Because I could see like gunk on whether the nerve or the vein, like I wasn't sure. But so I'm Spirit taught, so I always just ask, what am I supposed to do? How do we help here? And so I started like pulling the gunk off of those nerves or whatever, and then doing a lot of work over time. And then she started pretty quickly regaining, like starting to be able to actually see colors, which she wasn't able to do. And then so her mom started Tracy started dosing her, and this is the first I started learning about cannabis, because even though Montel's a friend of mine, and he's obviously reliant because of his MS, I never really understood it, But Tracy started giving Sophie doses of CBD, and THC, and I started communicating. I'm kind of bottom lining it in the essence of time, but I started being the medicine started communicating with me. It was crazy, which made me start crying, right? Because I was like, oh my God, like I felt so honored, And I quickly, I was like, wow, this is brilliant and powerful, right? When it's used appropriately. Anyway, so what I started learning is that even though Sophie has like the tumor here and gut issues, like I can feel if she's had too much sugar, for instance, whatever, because I feel nauseous. But when the medicine would come into her etheric body, her energy body, right, which is so important, the medicine would come in and it wouldn't just go to her tumor. The medicine said, it kind of, it's so funny because I get everything in pictures. The medicine would come in and kind of like, like sniff out where it was needed the most, because it's an energy body itself, right? And so you're bringing an energy into your energy body, and there's this beautiful collaboration that happens. And so on any given day or hour or whatever, that medicine would go where Sophie's energy body, physical body, needed it most. Because you see, what I know and what Spirit has taught me is that if whatever is in our etheric body, our energy body, stagnating or density, as cancer is density. And because our etheric body comes first, and it's scientifically proven, our soul comes in with our etheric body. Our physical body, this thing we put so much weight on, it's a hologram. Our physical body is a hologram. So everything that stays in the energy body, the etheric body, whether it starts stagnating, turns to density for whatever reason, if it's emotional wounding or trauma, that also duplicates into the physical body, and then it's called a Western medicine illness, right? So where we're going wrong is trying to take illness out of the physical first, instead of taking it out of the etheric body, which is where it originated. So this is why people have recurring illnesses, because we can cut it out of the physical, we can zap it out of the physical, chemo it or whatever. But if it's still sitting in the etheric body, it's going to come back in. Maybe not.
I just want to add something to that, because this is so important what you're saying. I just interviewed Dr. Veronique Desanier, who has overcome cancer twice. And I encourage everyone, go listen to that interview after this one as part of this series, because she not only talks about what she did to reverse it twice, but she confirms exactly what you're saying, is that after the first time she reversed it, I think it was 7 to 9 years later, when she had a recurrence, she knew it was because she had all this stress and she was overworking herself, and it was her emotional body, her emotions that had led to this next cancer diagnosis. And, it's such an important aspect about all of this, is that emotions are energy, thoughts are energy. And where is that? That's in our energy body. It's in our, in our etheric body, as you say, and then that manifests often as disease in the physical body.
Autoimmune, all that stuff, anxiety. I mean, I know we want to stay on track, but because, Spirit can really go off on all these things because it's so important, So, I mean, because I'd like to talk about, there's other, so cancer, right? So, well, I know that it is emotional. Most of the time it's emotional wounds, right? Trauma, because that's high level stuff, right? And it could be different for everybody. But so, well, I guess we could talk about that. But so with Sophie, the medicine started working with me, right? So it taught me, first and foremost, like, it was crazy. The medicine said, calm Sophie down. It's vital that before we even give her a dose, that I reset her electrical system, which I've been taught to do by spirit via working with acupuncturists. And I mean, there's so much to say, but so first I have to calm her electrical system down in her etheric body, you know, because it's the one that we can't see. So calming it down, because the medicine told me that no matter what, how powerful the medicine is or any supplement you're taking or anything, you will get a fraction of the benefit of it. Because everything loses its potency because if with anxiety, for instance, like Sophie is like, it's this is how I see it, right? So nothing can move, you know, when there's anxiety or PTSD and all these things, our energy's not flowing, and then it begins to stagnate, right? But it's true that then when we put the medicine, like the plant medicine, since as we're talking about, it's like we put it in there, and the medicine said if it has to fight against anxiety, the what's going on in the etheric body with anxiety, when it has to fight against that, it can and it will, but it heats up and loses its potency. And what was so fascinating is I was saying this out loud, I was sharing this with Tracy, and Tracy was like, you understand that's like literally true, right? I'm like, well, I'm assuming so, because because that's what they're telling me, so I started to learn that, but or was taught that. And so Sophie would start seeing better and better, but then if we weren't really if we didn't do like a session every week or sometimes 2 a week, she wouldn't lose the sight, but it wouldn't get better. So one day this is really fascinating. And one day without her on the, by this time Zoom, I put her, called her forward and put her in front of me. And I was shown, I was previously up leveled is what I call it, just maybe a month prior, where I was shown that we all have this mop. It looks like a mop, like, because I've been working in the interior etheric body and physical body, and where they intersect, there's an inner where they intersect there, where the meridians and everything are. And so I was like, she looked like she had like one of those old, it was just flaccid. And I asked Spirit and God, non-denominational, because that's who I'm hanging out with. And I'm like, what is this? I've never seen this before. And they told me to just start taking them and pulling them up, and making them straight. And when I grabbed onto them, they would light up. And they lit up to this beautiful orangey yellow color. Some of them were a little different shades, whatever, but I just started, okay, because I'm obedient. So I'm doing this, and they're lighting up. I'm like, wow, and they look like they were about, this long. And I did that, and then I was like going back around her head to make sure, and I noticed in her hairline in her physical body was there was one of those strands was missing. And it's almost like I could see, like, where there used to be a suction cup on it, as these funny visuals, but it's literally like that, because Spirit was drawing my attention to it. So I'm asking, what is that? Is that okay that she's like got a hole there and missing one of the strands? Because I didn't know. I'm not going to make assumptions. And no. And I was like, wow, that's kind of crazy, because her tumor is here. And so I asked, what am I supposed to do? And this was incredibly, because when there's like sometimes heavy lifting or leveling up, literally God shows up, which is so humbling and profound. And my eyes, I always have tears pouring down my face. I said, what should I do? And I heard fashion a strand. So it's like I grabbed light, because light is everywhere, right? And it's free, which is incredible. So until somebody figures out how to monetize it, right? So I grabbed and I just fashioned this, and it lit up. And I said, so I stuck it in the hole. And I was like, wow, is that part of what was going on? And I was told Sophie came in to physical form with a hole in her etheric body. And I was like, oh my God, this is kind of big, right? This is kind of incredible. And then what they told me is, so then our brilliance of our body, right? We're brilliant in every way. But so what her physical body did to try to protect her brain was to put this, it's like this metal, it looked to me like this metal sheet wall. Nope, put it here to protect things from coming in the hole through the etheric, because usually, things can, they come in a different way. So to protect her from environmental things or whatever, this barrier was put there. And I called Tracy, and then I did what I was told. I call it judging the rest of her. And then I called Tracy. I was like, I gotta tell you something. Her mom, Tracy, and she's like, Bobbi, do you understand, like, the whole thing about these tumors is that there's what CK Soul is about too, is like there's a blood-brain barrier in these kinds of tumors, and the NK cells, which I don't even know what that is, or I didn't until she told me, they can't penetrate the barrier, because if they could, they would eat up the tumor. So when I say, and when I understand, like, what we are missing in medicine is spirit and God, like, is an understatement, right? Not just, for every reason, but like to be taught from spirit and God such profound truths and scientific, like, things around cancer. It just lets us know, the importance of, number one, relying. That's why I say everything begins with faith, because if we don't not believe that we're divinely guided 100% of the time, and that we're absolutely surrounded by our guides and loved ones and God, and everything begins there. But like the information that we can get, and healing our body, our physical bodies, by breathing light in. You said have done the spirit taught breathing the light exercise. It is absolutely necessary to have a healthy etheric body. It must be well for our physical body to be well. And right now we're in this fever pitch of the need to heal. And, more and more cancer and autoimmune and all the things, leaking guts, which I'm learning so much about from spirit. Like, it's vital that we start, uniting, getting on our own path, not faith, healing, and then life purpose, but getting on our own unique personal path to healing, because we can heal from this place of faith, and from this place of knowing that, like, our spirit is in our etheric body. It came in with that, our soul. And so when we have thoughts that are not kind towards ourselves, when we lack compassion or self-love, or all the things that we do in our human brain, all of that sits in our energy body. It's all sitting there. And when we do that, it's what they showed me is almost like it's pulling our spirit from our physical.
Mm.
And
Wow.
it's disconnecting us from our soul, like our highest level self, because this human experience ultimately is an illusion, right? Like, we can go into all of that, but you can let me know what you'd like to talk about. But it's also important. It's also important because I know from spirit that if we have the level of illness called cancer in our physical body, there's a lot of emotional healing to do. And so what spirit just reminded me of is a lot of people will come and do sessions with me and say, but I had a great childhood, or I this and that, which is fine, right? But I remember like when I was on Maria Menounos, she said, if we come in and like you're saying, we come in and we choose before we come in and take a body, we choose our emotional wounds, right? And because I know, and spirit has taught that, like, choosing emotional wounds is on our own behalf. And when people hear, oh, I have emotional wounds, so they get really turned off by it. And the beautiful thing is, all that means is that you knew, and you've always known how powerful you are, right? Because they're tools for transcendence, and that's the truth. So our soul on the other side, before we come in and take a body, we understand that the more wounds we heal, the higher we transcend if we heal them. And so we make agreements with other souls on the other side to, bring forward these wounds or these experiences on our behalf, so that we have the wounds to heal, because when we do, we transcend, right? And also we agree to a life purpose before we even come in here. It's a beautiful collaboration with God, right? And we want to do it. So we come, and then we're reminded by our guides who agree to be with us, hey, you might be all stoked about this right now, but remember, you're going to have amnesia. You're also agreeing to go into that physical form completely forgetting who you are. And you're not going to remember that these painful experiences and these wounds are on your behalf, and that you actually chose them because what a badass you are, and we it's this, on our soul's behalf, we want to have the experience of keeping our word with ourselves, with our soul. And we want to, which includes life purpose. Nothing happens if you don't live your life purpose. It's not like you get demerit. The truth is, like, you don't get demerits or go anywhere else. If you don't, it just means that when you get to the other side and you're reviewing your life, you might be like, yes, I did it. Like, that's how I feel. Or you might get on the other side and be like, no, I did it again. I blew it off. Or I created one. I carved my own path for whatever reason. And it's okay. But it's vital right now for each individual soul, however spirit is bringing the tapping and the waking up to you, if it's physical illness, if it's cancer, if it's job loss, if it's whatever it is, however your guides are trying to wake you up, it's just time. And it's time right now. It's time for all of us to come in and start being like, okay, what is it that I said I was going to do? What is it that I said I was heal? And help me do that. Show me how to do it. Lead me to it and through it, and be with me and lead me to life purpose. It's vital right now.
I have to tell you, you just dropped like 100 wisdom bombs. It's been just incredible just sitting back listening to you. And I resonate with everything you just said. I mean, it's so inspiring what you're sharing right now. And it's brought up 100 different things for myself that I want to share, but I won't share all of it. What I want to ask you first, though, is so you were working with Sophie. You went through all of that. Now, how is she doing?
Okay, yeah. So, and it's important to just insert in there, and I kind of got off track, that, you know, Sophie did in between there in the zhuzhing, the mop stuff. We did do, you know, because I asked, how do I help? And she's done she had a lot of past life trauma. So I started to say, you know, Maria Menounos asked me, how could a kid come in and already have so many wounds to heal, or be responsible for that to the level that she's created a brain tumor? And, you know, there's a lot to say. It's like, well, we don't know what her life purpose is yet, right? But she had past life trauma that also, you know, created some of this. So we healed that too. We went through all that. So now, after the doing all of, you know, replacing the rod, she was learning to read by Braille when we met, and she just started Monday. She just started regular school reading on Zoom in a regular class, everything, because she can see. And
wow,
yeah,
that's incredible. Yeah,
mind blowing. And you know, her parents are such huge advocates for this kind of healing. And, you know, you think about, had they not taken the chance to bring this in and learn and stood in their own, you know, faith and intuition, like, very different outcome, right? But we know that there's divine timing and everything, right? And purpose and everything. But so it's just such a huge testament, right, to the power of this. And Sophie breathes light every day, and, you know, she has so much fun sharing with other people, like, do you have anxiety? She's so funny. She'll be like, breathe the light with me, breathe the light with me. It's hilarious, but she understands. And now she grabs light and she pulls it in, she calls it magic. And it's just astounding, you know. And some people, like, I would have called that a miracle before I understood the power of spirit. And I know that I'm just working on behalf of God, guides, and the person in front of me. So now it's not a miracle, it's just what's possible, you know, for all of us.
Yeah, you know what I'm just want to share briefly is what I hear you talking about is what I would call true integrative medicine, right? Unfortunately, the medical industry is kind of co-opting the word integrative and doing 80% conventional medicine with 20%. Yeah, here's some meditation and some massage and things like that. But what I consider true integrative medicine is exactly what you're talking about. It's integrating all the aspects of what it means to be a healthy, whole human being, our spiritual side, our mental, emotional side, our physical side. And I've gone back and forth on this over the last 15 years and finding more and more balance every year, where we often get trapped in either just focusing on the physical, just the supplements, just the exercise, just the sleep, etc., and forget about the spiritual, forget about the mental, emotional, and vice versa. You know, early on, when I was meditating 6, 7, 8 hours a day, and I was studying with Buddhist monks, and I was learning how to heal, you know, I had this incredible healing experience where this woman just had a stroke and couldn't walk. She was paralyzed, and within about a half hour, 45 minutes of doing energy work on her at this Buddhist temple, she was walking around and got her, you know, was out of paralysis. And it's just this incredible experience.
Yeah.
A long time ago. It's a story for another time, but it opened me up to this whole other world of, wow, we are so much more than just physical. We are energy, we are spirit, we are light, all these things that you're talking about. And we can also get trapped in that and forget about the physical. We don't eat right, we don't exercise, we don't, you know, you'll see people who are obese and unhealthy, but are very deep into their spiritual work. And so it's integrating all of it, right? That's what we need to do in our time movement. I believe that's really what spirit is guiding us to do, is to implement what you're doing, what you're talking about, what you're teaching, with everything else that it requires to be a totally healthy human being.
Yeah, I love that I'm so happy you brought that up, because it is, you know, we need both. We have an etheric body and we have a physical body. We have them both. They both need the kind of medicine. And what's, you know, I wanted to add, what's so incredible for me is that, you know, when I started doing the work with physical illnesses, like, all of a sudden you're bringing me people with physical illnesses, and at first I was intimidated. I was like, oh, you know, how do I help, you know? And then I was shown how to help. Like, it's incredible. But I said, because I was calling what I do something else, there's the Akashic records, right? And so so when this started happening, I literally said to my peeps, who I'm completely reliant on, I said, what am I calling this? And I heard etheric medicine. And so because I trust beyond trust 100%, I literally went on GoDaddy, typed in etheric medicine. Ethericmedicine.com is available, you know, for $1 or something, because nobody knew what it was. And I didn't even know what it was. So I bought it first, and then I Googled etheric, and I was like, oh my God, this is exactly what's happening, what you're teaching me. Like, it makes my hair stand to this day, because I literally am taught. And what's incredible is I was pre-med, you know, and my dad was killed when I was 20, and then I became a paramedic. I went to Loyola Paramedicine. And so, as my mom said, you know, I wanted to be a doctor before I could even pronounce it. And here I am being like flanked by spirit doctors, being taught like all these things, and it's etheric medicine, because now I understand this day was always going to come. You know, the time that we are in was always the plan. And so to be able to speak about the need and the necessity for what is, you know, etheric medicine and Western medicine to collaborate is vital for us to heal, fully heal, and then vibrate higher and transcend, and more people living in life purpose. How profoundly powerful would that be? I like to imagine that world, right? Because we wouldn't have a pandemic, we wouldn't have mental illness, you know, or people blown off because they have mental illness at minimum. We wouldn't have all this stuff if we could all come in first and foremost and be responsible for our soul's journey and our own soul's healing, and be dependent on our guides, because they're here with us whether we want to believe it or not. It's still the truth.
So what you're saying has profound impact for the future of humanity, for the future of each individual tuning in their own health and healing journey. And obviously people can work with you, and I encourage people who are interested, go to ethericmedicine.com. Bobbi has a free video there. I've actually been doing it in the mornings. I really like it. It's called Breathe in the Light, which she's talked about a little bit. Try that out. Join her newsletter. But you can also book a session with her directly. But in addition to that, as we kind of, you know, wrap up here, what advice would you give people to, like, how can people enhance their connection to spirit further? Like, what practical steps can people actually take to connect to their guides, to connect to spirit, to have more of a direct communication with their deeper spiritual connection to their higher self, to God, to spirit, to source, and to their own intuition for helping find out what they need to do on their healing journey?
Well, it's that, so the spirit taught breathing the light exercise that we've been talking about was brought to me 4 years ago during my own healing. And so I thought it was for me, but at the time, but now here I've been, spirit has said, I need to share it because it is uniquely individual to each soul and what we're here, what's going on with us. And it's meant to, because in it, at the end of it, you'll see, there's a prayer, if you want to call it a prayer, if you want to call it just like talking to your peeps, but it's that, what I did, and it's another story, but it's not, you can see my story on my website, how I got brought to this purpose was being stripped of everything but faith. So, and then I asked, God help me, and I said, I need a pretty big sign, right? And the short version of that is like, you start asking. See, you're not going to understand most people. I mean, there's a lot of people that, of course, that they're already in the know about, but see, unless you ask, you're not going to know that you received. And when you start putting down your ego, I don't care who you are, boy, girl, man, woman, Christian, not, it doesn't, whatever age, just have the courage to start saying, hey, guys, I kind of want to believe that you're here. I'm on the fence. Like, they don't take offense to anything. I gave God an ultimatum. 5.5 years ago. And I just, hey, be honest and say, I want to get on this path. I need help. See, because we need to ask. It's a spiritual law as well, ask. But it's not a cliche, ask and you shall receive. But if, this is why people think, oh, what a coincidence. Oh, well, that's weird that happened right then. It isn't. It's not weird. It's not a coincidence. It's the reason that we think it's a coincidence is because we didn't ask.
Yeah,
right.
That's why I call those experiences divine synchronicities. It's
divine.
Always meant to happen,
Always. And it's so beautiful if we can, because this is the way I live life. And now I'm like, I was a real estate agent and then here I am doing this. Like, what? And because I asked, what did I say I was going to do here? Please lead me to it. I'm here for it, whatever it is, right? Because I went through, and then here I am. Like, are you serious? And this is available for all of us. But you have to have the courage and put the ego down to just say, hey, guys, I'm going to try this out. So, it's not like you want to ask for a lightning bolt to hit your neighbor's car or something, as proof. But like, what do you need help with? What are you trying to figure out? What is it? Should I take this job or, start small. Should I take this job or that job or whatever? And then tap on the door. Does it open? No. Okay, tap on the other one. Does that one open? Yes. Great. It's literally like that. We don't have to kick doors down. We have spirit can move mountains for us. All we need to do is sit back and have faith in that, whether it's health mountains or, relationship mountains or, emotional, it doesn't, whatever it is we need is available 100% of the time, 24/7.
I love that you're saying that, because one of the things that I teach people who have a cancer diagnosis is, look, it's taken years for this cancer to form in your body. And yes, your oncologist is going to want to rush you to surgery, chemotherapy, or radiation, but you have time. You have time to go home and sit down, calm yourself, right? We have to reduce some of that stress, some of that anxiety, some of that fear the prognosis. Get into a state of calmness, of mindfulness, whether, do a meditation to do it, do the breathing the light exercise, qigong. I do qigong on a daily basis, whatever it is that can calm you down and center you, connect you to the spirit within. And then ask, right? Just like you're saying, ask your guides, your higher self, God, your intuition, is this the right treatment for me? Is this the right protocol? And if not, show me what is the right treatment path for me.
Right.
Yeah, and then you'll feel it. If you are tuned in and you're calm and you're not anxious, you'll have an answer. It may not be in that exact moment, is what I found. Right. Sometimes it comes later. Sometimes it comes on a bumper sticker. Sometimes it's like for me, sometimes if it's a big thing, it happens over time through a series of confirmations until I get to a point of certainty that's like, nope, that's not for me.
Yeah, or you're standing in it.
Or you're yes, it's right there in front of you. Okay, here it is.
Yeah.
Or I'm already doing it. I just need to do this and this also, right? Yeah. Which is, going back to Dr. V's story, during her interview, one of the things she talked about was she was already on a natural path for a long time. She was already eating well and doing all these different things. And when she got cancer, she's like, how could I get cancer? I'm like a very healthy person. I know about health. I've been eating healthy and living healthy. Well, there were a couple missing pieces that she was missing in her life that she found out, oh, I need to do this and this and this. And then 2 years later, cancer was gone, right?
Yep.
Doing a natural approach. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's incredibly important as well, Nathan, because it's another piece of advice or spirit advice is, again, understand or try to start understanding that there is no other soul on the planet right now with the same energetic makeup or life purpose. A lot of us have life purposes that look similar. There is no one, and I know this straight from God, there is no one that has the exact unique anything as us. So for that reason, if any kind of medicine, even if it's integrative or it doesn't matter what it is, if you're being put in a box because, oh, you're showing up with these symptoms or this, and you're this age, or you're a smoker, it doesn't matter. If they're like, oh, here, take this, we have to start tuning in and asking, what is it that's right for me? Don't allow yourself to be put in anyone's box. It's vital that we start working with our energy, asking our bodies, as we've talked about. It's cute. Like I think it's cute because when people's organs will communicate with me, they all have their own little vibration. I like to think it was like a little bunch of little puppies or something, like because there's this sweetness. I don't know how to explain it, but there's this sweetness, and innocence almost, that we're the captain of the ship, right? If they can't trust us and we're not, like, it doesn't matter if we're drinking water, if our energy body's fluttering, if our lights are fluttering, then we need to calm that down, because the water's not going to make it to everybody. And that's how it looks to me. It's like, there's organs down there being like, hey, like, I need more, right? Because they're not getting the supplements, they're not getting the water, they're not getting the nutrition, even though you're putting it in your body. So this is so important to be like, all right, guys, I'm here, I'm taking control of this whole thing. What do we need? And then your body will tell you. And if you're on a ton of supplements right now and you're still like, oh, I'm not feeling, or this and this, what Spirit has been telling me, or having me share with clients, who lots of them are nutrition coaches and all this, is stop taking everything. stop taking everything for a minimum of a month. I don't know where they come up with that, but for a minimum of a month, clean your slate, and then reintroduce one thing at a time and see how you feel. And if that one thing isn't making a difference, stop taking the one thing, and then for some reason it's 2 weeks in between, and then take the next thing. But piling things into an energy body, because that's what you're ultimately doing, and asking it to break down these capsules and these, in which is another thing, take tinctures instead of capsules in whenever you can. But to ask an already depleted physical and etheric body to manage all of this and just keep asking it to do more when it's not getting what it needs in the first place is not the right thing to do. Even if all of those supplements individually are incredible and powerful, and I know there's lots of them out there, it doesn't matter. You've got to figure out what your body needs, both of them, physical and energy body need. What do they need? Ask them both, because they collaborate and you have both. So it's vital.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, it's one of the things that you asked me a couple of days ago. You're taking a lot of supplements. I'm like, yeah. And what was funny about it is I've been having this kind of little thought come up a couple of times, like, man, that's a lot of capsules I'm taking, like, how's my body responding to all this plant cellulose capsule that has to break it down? I've literally had that thought a couple of times, like, maybe I'm taking too many, maybe I should, switch it up. And you were like, you're taking it because you're like, I see this energy in your stomach, you're taking a lot of supplements there. I was like, yeah. And so anyway, I mean, that's a huge piece of advice right there. Just, I love the idea of like literally detoxing your body, cleansing. I just did a cleanse recently. I love cleansing and detoxing, which is a great way to clean out your body. We have a series of interviews that are part of this. You can go and listen to on how to cleanse and detox safely and effectively. Yeah. Get your body clean, your bodies clean.
Yeah, your body.
Yes. And then I love what you said. It's like introduce one at a time and say, okay, is this working? Do I feel it? Does it feel good? If not, move on. Try something else. Instead of just piling it all on. Now you're forcing your body to do a lot of extra work. A lot of energy has to be put into breaking down all those capsules too, rather than putting that energy towards actually healing the body.
Right. Yeah. And again, remember with the tincture, back to the CBD, THC, what we learn is that, that really does prefer, it's powerful to do any tincture over a capsule. I know it's not always possible. I don't even know. I don't take supplements, but, well, except I just started taking Zach Bush's biome, is that the tincture, the energy of it would rather intuit where it is needed than you put it in your stomach.
And so that's scientifically proven. What you're saying is actually your mouth is the beginning of your digestion process, and it actually takes 20 seconds. I've interviewed neuroscience researchers on this. It takes 20 seconds of having something in your mouth for your brain to fully recognize what it is and start producing the enzymes that are going to help your body to digest and absorb the nutrients from that particular food or plant or anything. So yeah, it's like what you're saying that you're getting from spirit, science has validated that. So it's beautiful.
Yeah, it is really cool, because a lot of people will say, have you read this book or that book? Or have you heard so-and-so's, podcast or this and that? I'm like, no, I haven't read anything, because I'm like, who better to hear it from, right? I mean, and so I trust it. And that's important to me, because I just want to be in service, and I want people to heal, whether it's physically, emotionally, spiritually. Like, that's what I want to be part of. So being taught by a trusted source is, means the world to me. So
yeah, I don't think there's any better source to learn from than the source. Listen, Bobbi, I just want to say thank you so much. I know we were planning 30, 35 minutes. We've gone almost an hour, and I love it. This has actually been a truly inspiring, invigorating conversation. I hope and believe people tuning in just got tremendous value from this. You dropped, 100 just wisdom bombs, and I love what you're doing and how you present and share, this inspiring information. So thank you so much for what you do and for being a beautiful vessel for spirit. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Nathan.
Yeah, and I want to thank all of you tuning in here to the Global Cancer Symposium. Make sure to share this with anyone who needs this life-changing information. Make sure to go to Etheric Medicine, ETHERIC, ethericmedicine.com to learn more about booking a session with Bobbi and to experience her Breathe in the Light video. Also, I encourage you to visit healthandhealingclub.com. You can learn more about the global membership dedicated to helping people get and stay healthy. Again, I'm Nathan Crane, and I wish you all ultimate health and happiness. Take care.